Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Blender Robot Manufactory. Today, as the title suggests, I'm going to be working on a switch for turning off gravity for the space station. And the reason that you're going to be doing this is mostly there's an area on the outside of the station that you can only reach if you turn the gravity off, because the gravity is stronger the farther out from the center you get. Oh, all right, I'm the governor city. I don't really know what that means in this context, but I'll take your word for it. Hey Ron, how are you doing today? So yeah, I've basically got it 100% set up so that I'm able to turn off the gravity and turn it back on, which I'll show to you. But I still need some kind of prop that the player uses in order to switch the gravity off. So let me just show you what I have so far. Well, I guess I'm the governor of the Blender Robot Manufactory now. Oh man, yeah, I think, City, our daylight savings is this weekend, isn't it? So I guess we'll be changing around our time zone pretty soon. So I'm going to go ahead and let's say we all do 10 seconds to spin down. So let's just maximize this, get a good size for viewing in the stream. Move this over here. And as you can see right now we're in regular gravity, so I jump up, I fall back down. But we're pretty close to the center of the spin section, so I can jump really high, and you can see that the background's rotating right now. But now I'm going to go ahead and start the spin down. And in game, this will probably take like a minute to 2 minutes. Because the player's going to be running somewhere and is trying to do something while the station is spinning down. But right now it's just 10 seconds. So we've got a message that the spin down's in progress. The background is slowing down, the rain is slowing down, and now we're totally spun down. So you can see that even though we're in the regular spin section, the player can still jump around like they would in the central area. I don't know if there was a question, City. I think I just said that I'm going to go with it and claim to be the governor. So as you can see, both doors on the decelerator open, and I can just climb up the ladder from this outside to the center when we're spun down. But let's go ahead and spin it back up to show you. Start the test. And now the top hatch is closing. And gravity is slowly increasing as we spin back up. The rate of rotation of the sky is increasing. Forget what the workplace juicer is. Is that for dolphin juicing? And as you can see, we're now totally spun up again. And we've got regular gravity. So what I'm going to be doing today is making a switch so that if the player reaches the switch, they can control spinning up
Wait a
and
second.
spinning
Oh my
down.
goodness. Juice!
Juice! Yeah, I got juice, all of them. So, now that I've explained what I'm doing today, enjoy this pre-recorded message. Hey there, my name's Jory, and this is the Blender Robot Manufactory. I'm a 3D artist and game designer currently making a roguelike platformer in Unity 3D. On this live stream, I give a window into my process of creating models in Blender. We'll be learning the basic commands and techniques I use to create a range of designs for my video game, from furniture to robots to animated human characters. I'll also show how I create models for use in 3D printing. Since we'll be focusing on my personal workflow, this channel will not be a comprehensive course, and many features of Blender will never be covered. However, this channel is meant to be a great jumping off point if you've never used Blender before. We'll also be covering topics that are interesting at any skill level, like what makes a good design, how to generate ideas for unique creations, and how to compose shapes in three-dimensional space to create models that look great from any angle. So whether you've never made a 3D model and would love to learn, you've been doing it for years, or you just want to hang out, relax, and enjoy my process, please tune into the Blender Robot Manufactory on Twitch TV. And we are back in Blender. What's a 3D model? Well, you see, City, a 3D model it's like a physical object, but it exists inside the world of the computer. And if you die in the computer, you die in real life.
Hey, tutorial heads. Thanks for downloading the tutorial page. Tutorial.
So, let me think about this.
But what is eyes?
The eyes is what
What
laser
is
topographical
eyes?
reshaping takes place upon.
Yeah, I'm hoping my game is on the harder side. Also, how are you doing, Mel? So here's the switch that I made last time. And I'm actually wondering if maybe the gravity shutoff is controlled by one of these switches. Like, let me just show you the animation I made for this. Yeah, so this is kind of a general purpose switch. So I'm thinking that I can use it for a whole lot of different situations in the game. And when you're shutting off this, the gravity to begin with, you're traveling through the nuclear section, finding a bunch of these switches that are going to open doors to allow you to access the gravity shutoff area. Oh man, sorry to hear you're feeling stressed, Mel. Yeah, I like Halloween too, though I never do much for it. So, yeah, what was I gonna say? Right, so just because I've already established that this thing's the important switch and you gotta hit these to progress, the simplest thing might just be to put one of these next to something that shows off, like, it gives you, like, the idea of looking at the station spinning. And you can see it slowing down as the station slows down. Oh man. Yeah, I think I've got a little more tolerance for fun than most people in video games. Like, RimWorld starts getting exciting for me when I have like one colonist left. They're just barely scraping by. And like I've got a freezer full of mostly human meat, but I don't really want them to eat it because they'll get a mood debuff. But, you know, I will turn them into a cannibal if I have to. Man, so are your clients making a lot of unreasonable requests, Mel? So, let's actually show you what this important switch looks like in the game. And this is going to be rotated so that it's pointing more towards the top. But I've got a rotator screen hooked up to this thing. And I'm thinking the gravity shutoff might even have two of these stacked on top of each other. It sounds like you've been watching too much Little Shop of Horrors, Corpus. Oh, I see. Well, I'm hoping the relationship stays good, Mel. So then I pull the switch, it clunks down, this opens, yeah, the rotator screen displays a message. So I'm thinking all that can still hold true for this gravity shutoff thing. But I'll have something additional that's showing the rotation of the space station. So then, I know I'm dragging my heels a little with this, but, actually, keep closing this for performance reasons. I think, like, the first thing I'm going to do here is I need like an inner and outer ring setup that basically shows the shape of the space station. It doesn't actually have to take the exact silhouette of the outer part because that would be a huge pain to make. But what I do need to do is figure out, like, the proportion of inside to outside. So, let's just unmaximize this. And then make it so we can see all the rooms. Well, you know, the clients sure look like plant food to me.
I've given you sunlight. I've given you rain.
So, it goes 14 rooms until we get to the outside of the spin section. And let's go ahead and make a folder for this. Models. Thank you so much for the cheer, Mal. I'm turning on party lights for that one. Oh, we missed you too. We got new emotes now. And thank you so much for the cheer, City. Hello, Vomit. How are you doing? I've been really good. So, just doing a whole lot of work on the video game. And right now I'm making a switch that's going to turn off gravity in the space station. What have you been up to? So then we're going to call this gravity shut off. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear it, Turbo. Yeah, lately I've been working on just making different switches and stuff, and oh yeah, so how's the helicopter going? So yeah, just making different switches and trying to set this thing up so that the play, like even if all the content isn't in, the player can at least have the basic progression from one area to the next and be able to kind of get to the end naturally like they will be able to do in the finished game. I am so distracted today. What is it I'm doing? I think I'm saving. Documents, Plunder Robot, models, equipment, and we need gravity shut off. Oh, and I should say, like, Sierra. So, I got moving forward and still trying to figure out the rotation. Oh yeah, so, not sure if you're aware, but we've got an awesome Discord. That's a great place to hang out and share what you're working on. So yeah, the other thing I should do is, append some kind of back wall so that pretty much everything I make in here is an alcove. So I need to know where the back wall is so this thing can kind of sink into the back wall. And welcome to the Discord, Turbo. So, yeah, all this is going to be embedded in the back wall. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to make a circle. 32 vertices might be okay for this. It's an important prop, so I do want it to look nice. So then, I'm not sure exactly how big this thing needs to be. But for now, let's just say that it's 14 by 14. Because we go 14 rooms down in this thing before getting to the spin section. Right, then duplicating this. This one, I need one circle that's 15 by 15. All right, and then this should be the size of the little gap between the spin and central areas where the decelerator moves. Then duplicate this again, And the outside is a bit inexact. Oh, I will absolutely release this game. Yeah, I'm glad you're excited about it, Mel. I don't know. I feel like the hardest part of development is actually behind me at this point. You know, I've got the game engine going. I've got the big systems in place. So, right now it's just a matter of adding content and fine-tuning. So the amount that the bottom room is kind of inexact, but the bottom of the elevator is at room 27, and they kind of hover around there. So let's say we're going to do 27, 27. And that's about the proportions of the actual space station. Then just joining these edge loops. And I'm wondering if maybe I need a few more vertices in this, like this outside ring could maybe be double that number. And now this should be, let's actually have a look at this. This should be roughly the same proportions as the actual space station if I did that correctly. And yeah, that looks about right. So as you can see, the space station in the game has kind of this random up and down to the outside of it. And I don't think I really want to spend the time, I don't think it'll be worth it spending the time making this thing copy the shape of the space station right now, though it might be something I add later as like some finishing polish. But right now, I just like to kind of mimic that up and down feeling in order to add some visual interest, make it more like the original, and also to show the rotation, because if it's perfectly smooth and I rotate this thing, you can't even tell. But I am going to try to keep this sort of realistic to how the actual thing is set up. So just looking at the outside, it looks like it never, what is this, 27? I think I have it set up so that like the inside of the station can go as low as 29. So let's make it so that this is realistic to that. Selecting the inside too. So this thing, I'd actually like it to go to 29. Join these again, fill them in. Yeah, so what's everyone been up to lately? Does anyone have any fun Halloween plans? Or any awesome projects you're working on. Right, so I said this room 14 is here, room 15 is here, room 16 is here. So we have 29 minus 16 is 13 rooms, I believe. That's not right. Oh, my brain isn't working today. Okay, yeah, 13 rooms. So that means I'm going to go ahead and divide this. I think I need 12 cuts to get 13 divisions. Now that is a lot of studying to do. So, how's the Blender side of it going for you, Turbo? Oh, cool. Also, which country are you moving to? Well, we've got the flashy lights going now. Everyone on the internet's invited to the flashy light dance party. So, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And, so the goal here is just to kind of have a random up and down here. And I don't think this is actually the number of rooms the station is around. But it'll be fine. Oh yeah, how are you doing, Elite Stomper? So, the game that I'm making is a procedural platformer where you're playing as this robot who's trying to escape from a space station. And your special ability is you can eat objects and return them into other objects. So there's a little demo of it playing underneath my head on Twitch. Man, that's a big decision, Turbo. So right now I'm making a little display that shows that allows the player to turn off the gravity on the space station. Oh, cool. What kind of platformer do you want to work on, Elite? So then, 29, 28, 27. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of wing it and, try to get something that looks a little bit like, what the actual space station silhouette looks like. It sounds like a fun project, Delete. So have you started programming it yet? What country are you in right now, Turbo? Alright, so just running along here. Trying to make this thing, look more or less like the actual space station in the game. Yeah, so, let me actually show you. I've got the actual game set up right now. So let's go over here. Oh yeah, and wait just a moment. You know, I
Given you
really
sunlight.
should.
I've given you rain.
There is the oh Paz, how are you doing? So sometimes windows break and they suck enemies out the windows. But I just might allow the ability to breach airlocks at some point. So right now I'm in the video game. Here's a little proximity sensor that I rigged up. And this is at the outside of the station, so you can see the sky rotating right now because we're in this spin section of it. And let me do one more thing. I think I have enemies turned off for testing purposes. What have you been up to, Paz? Alright, so we're generating the level again. Oh yeah, and here's the switch that I made last time on stream. So I throw it, it does a little fanfare, and then it displays a message. Oh, I'm doing really good. Just working on more switches for the video game. So now I'm running along, and there should actually be some NPCs. Oh yeah, there they are. So I just found this computer terminal, and I can pick it up. Everything's physical, so I can toss it around. And when I eat it, you see it goes into these memory slots. That thing's squealer. It'll alert the NPCs to my presence if it sees me. So now I'm eating another thing. And let me actually make some tools just for showing the game off. Normally you'd have to find these in the level. And there we go. Oh, thank you, Elite. That's right. So the further you are from the center, gravity is actually higher the further you are from the center, because the whole thing is a gigantic centrifuge. So yeah, I've got all kinds of tools right now. This is the knife, so I can swing off of the ceiling with it. Yeah, the acceleration is higher, and you can throw knives around. But the Creator Crate's special ability is that you can reproduce items. So even though I only ate one knife, I can just keep making knives until I run out of matter. And I can even eat this fan, turn into more matter, throw another knife around. And all of these tools have special abilities. So I can use this fan to hover in place and fall really slowly, or to push objects around. This is the kinetic explosive that gives me a quick burst of height. Acid is useful for dissolving through destructible blocks. And also for throwing at robots and humans. It's a Bunsen burner that lights things on fire. There's a springy ladder for reaching higher places. And let's just grab this. Yeah, I actually do have a recommendation for, so this might be a little bit high level, but I think it actually is a good starting point, just to start thinking about this stuff. It's this series of, let me see if I can find it, this series of YouTube videos that I just found really, really useful lately. Oh, so we do have one boss battle. I'll show you in just a moment.
Hey, what's up, Jason?
Hey, tutorial hands. Thanks for the tutorial page.
Yeah, so here's one in the series. If you look at that channel, you'll see some other ones all in the solid Unity principles. And that's not so much like just how to do things in C#, but once you get a little more comfortable with C#, there's some really great ideas in there for keeping your projects clean and organized. What have people been saying? Oh yeah, so the next boss battle is probably going to be the robotics fight, where, yeah, let me actually move us over to the first boss battle so we can see it. The next one is probably going to be the robotics fight, where, I don't know, one of the people who made the creator crate is going to be trying to kill you with a giant robot. Not quite sure what else is going to be in there. Maybe a swarm of robots. Oh, and thank you so much for the follow, Elite. Just moving us to the boss now. This is probably going to get us killed, but we can at least see it. Yeah, and another thing I'd recommend is, like, tutorials are nice for just getting your feet wet and figuring out C# and starting to get a feel for it. But, I think a whole lot of how I learned was just each time there's something you want to do that you don't know how to do, just type it into Google, and usually there's an answer on a forum that's a few lines long, or, you know, that's pretty simple to understand. And, you know, if you just keep doing those, you can start building up your own projects while learning how to program in C#. Yeah, it's the proper hair grooming responsibility principle. Yeah, so here's the first boss battle we got so far. Let me adjust our sound volume a little bit. And this might still need a little bit of play testing, debugging. So first of all, he tries to get me to go into that box because this robot's a prototype that they're trying to capture. Whoop. Now I'm getting dissolved in acid. This isn't good. The whole thing is based on catching the acid that they're throwing at you. Let's see if I can win this thing. And I made that guy's animations on stream. Right, so now we're going back for more. These platforms are different every time, or for most of the stages. Uh-oh. I'm on acid again. By which I mean I'm getting dissolved in acid, not the other kind of being on acid. And I'm in bad shape. And they got me. I might need to adjust the difficulty levels on this thing a bit. But that was pretty exciting. Dying is fun. Yeah, so, let me show you some other stuff with the game. Maximize this a bit. Yeah, so it's procedurally generated, which means that, you know, the player is meant to die quite a bit because, you know, the level's different each time you play. So that keeps it a lot fresher, trying to get through these hard sections. But the way I was talking about this the other day is, you know, I've played a lot of different roguelikes and really enjoyed them. So, some of the ones I've enjoyed the most have areas that I've never ever got into, like NetHack and The Binding of Isaac. But Creator creates a little more story-based than that, so I want it to be easier than those, but harder than some roguelikes like Galaxy that I played before and like finished in a week and never went back to. So I think there is a sweet spot to difficulty where you're really challenged, but most players are able to get to the content that's there. So the camera rotation's automatic it's automatic everywhere, and it always points where the player's top is pointed. Well, good luck with your project, Elite, and thank you so much for stopping by. So you can see right now we're looking at the room where the player is. And then I zoom out a little more, and you can start seeing some curvature to the floors. And just zooming out all the way. And these rooms aren't all in at once when you're playing the game. I just put them all in for testing and display purposes. So then I zoom out all the way, and now we can really see the shape of this space station. So it's literally a gigantic circle. So you can control where the top of your character is pointed in no gravity. But when you're in the gravity section, your feet just point towards the ground. So then, while I'm in this screen, let me just move this in. Get it adjusted for the stream again. And I'm going to move the player to the decelerator. Just get them up there. The decelerator is what I use to transition from the gravity to the microgravity section. So then turn off show all rooms. What? And it looks like they killed me. Let's try this one more time. While I was teleporting the player around, someone shot them. I guess I'll turn music back on. And that's why I turn off NPCs when I'm testing. Alright, let's spawn the care package so we've got some tools to work with again. Yeah, this is the main thing I'm working on right now. Not quite sure when the release date is, but you know, I'm really hoping to get this so that probably going to go with early access first. But I'm also going to need to go through some alpha testing and bug fixes before I can get there. So right now the decelerator is all locked off. So now I put this in the key card reader, and we're able to use the decelerator to go to the center of the station. How are you doing, Danitz? It's been about 3.5 years now. Yeah, it's been a long time getting to this point. Feel like it's really coming together now, though. So what this is doing is running along the outside of the station. Yeah, this is pretty much entirely my work, except someone else made the music for it, and City of Corridors has been a lot of help thinking of ideas, planning, and she's also making this awesome alternate universe language for it. Oh, sorry, I'll call you Dan then. You know, actually, I've been using Blender a lot, but this is basically my first Unity project. So I'd done some game work with Adventure Game Studio before this. Nothing that quite got finished. But, you know, that was how I got into game making to begin with. So yeah, now we're in the microgravity section, and I can just jump from wall to wall and point where the top of the player and the camera's facing. Man, yeah, that would be pretty great. So then, tools are also really useful for getting around here. I can stab the knife into the wall to get a lot more control over where I'm going. And the fan is extremely useful in microgravity. And there should be some NPCs around here somewhere. Yeah, there they are. And they also jump from wall to wall in microgravity. And they are totally going to kill me. Though that went better than I expected. Usually I don't survive charging them with a knife in microgravity. And you can see there's also a lot of bullet casings and debris that float around up here. Yeah, that one's a lot better than I expected. And all of the NPCs also have ragdolls, so you can toss them around. Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Dan. So yeah, I'm going to get back to making this switch to turn off the gravity. So, do you do any digital art or game dev too, Dan? So right now I'm just trying to kind of mimic what the outside profile of the station would look like. Since I'm not actually following what's been generated for this switch. Just kind of, and the way that the rooms are set up, it does like to go sideways more than up down. So you get these chunks of sideways movement, then it goes up by one or two more chunks of sideways movement. Oh, awesome. So you're getting into Blender, Dan? Yeah, so this model's to represent the spin. I'm thinking how this is going to work is I'll have this model representing the space station. It's going to be underneath the sheet of glass and maybe glowing a little, so it kind of looks like a three-dimensional screen thing. And then the spin of the model will slow down as it's getting close to, you know, actually stopping the rotation. So like you want to make animations that take place in big cities and stuff like that, Dan? You know, the most ambitious animator I know on Twitch is named Legmog. He's, like, his project is about as big as the one I'm doing right now. Never done one of these before. Does this work? Maybe that's a bot command. At any rate, Legmog on Twitch is this really ambitious 3D animator who's trying to do something a little on the level of a Pixar movie. Though there's also a lot of other great 3D artists on Twitch. Quite a few of them are watching right now. Oh, so advice getting into Blender. I think the first thing I'd recommend is I mean, doing tutorials is always a great idea. But like the first things in Blender that really helped me just start to get a handle on it. Let me turn on my screen keys. And Keymon. Thank you so much for the host, Tommy. How are you doing? Yeah, so, like the very first things that helped me start getting control of a model were, mirror modifiers are extremely useful. You know, I've never done a donut tutorial. I probably should at some point. Yeah, so let me show you a mirror modifier. And did I say hello to you, Kendall? I think I I think I missed it. How are you doing, Kendall? Also, hi, Ibums. City told me to say I'm the governor. I'm not sure what I'm the governor of, but I'm the governor. So, mirror modifier. Yeah, so, what I'm doing is I'm pressing Control R to make a loop cut in the center, clicking again to apply it. And then I'm selecting the left side of this, pressing delete and saying vertices. So now I've just got half of the cube. I'm going over to this wrench tab saying add modifier, going to, where are you, mirror, and yeah, control loop cut. For some reason, control R is the loop cut. And then right over here, I'm pressing clipping. And the reason that I'm doing that is so that these vertices in the center will stay in place. Yeah, that's all great advice. Just, and also just pursue what really interests you. Like, don't get too bogged down in doing projects that you're doing because you feel like you should do them instead of having a passion for them. Right, so now I've put this mirror modifier on. And you can see that if I move one side of it, the other side moves automatically. And pretty much all of the things you're going to be making in Blender, or a whole lot of them, are going to have some kind of symmetry to them. So the mirror modifier is extremely useful. Another thing I recommend for just starting out with Blender is like loop cuts and extrusions are a really useful thing to get started with. So again, Control R to do a loop cut. It just cuts across this whole thing. And then I'm going into face mode, extrude to pull it out, and extruding this down. And extruding some more. And another way to get better control over things is instead of pressing, like you can press G to grab, right? And that moves things around. But what it's doing is it's moving it around relative to your viewport. Like I look at it from here and you can see it's kind of off at this weird angle to the back. Yeah, that's a great point, Corpus. It's good to allow some flexibility. Right, so instead of like just doing grab and pulling it out at angles, it's a lot easier to use the arrow keys and just use left click to drag these one at a time to get better control over where these are pointing. That sounds really interesting, Kendall. Do you want to post a link to the Discord? So yeah, and we're already starting to get something built up. Maybe pull this down. And we've got like a simple little mech cockpit, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I really like using the arrow icons better. And these are also great for rotation too. If you shift click on this, you can get some other manipulators for moving this around. Although I prefer to just hold down the mouse button on these and press R to rotate in one plane at a time. Oh, not a problem, Dan. I wouldn't have even guessed. Yeah, so, working with sketches is another thing that, that can be, you know, its own challenge. So let me see, what did you say? The hardest thing for me will be modeling after a sketch. So, like, one thing that people do is, there is a way to put a background image in here. I think you just press and click background image down here, add image, and let's just find something to put in there. Yeah, so now there's also some settings for showing where you'll see this, like if you want this in the back, the front. So right now this is just displaying in the orthographic modes. So like if I wanted to, I could basically trace over this. Of course, this isn't really a character, it's just the palette, but you can see I could just extrude along these. But I think you'll actually get more mileage over not doing too much tracing and instead getting used to just kind of eyeballing things and really internalizing how they work in three-dimensional space. I'll have to start doing more characters again soon. I've made quite a few characters on stream, but it's been a while. What's everyone been saying? The main thing is that whatever model you make, love it. Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Share it, Turbo. Yeah, actually, you can post it in chat or post it to the general discussion Discord page. See you soon, Dan. Yeah, but I totally agree with that. Modeling things you're passionate about is the way to go. So now I'm just selecting all this stuff. I don't know if I'm quite happy with the profile of this thing yet, but I'll mess with it a little bit. And let's just, so it looks like I made too much pattern here where we kind of have even spokes. So I'm gonna have to adjust this a bit so it looks more interesting. Let's See what that looks like, and that's not too bad. These areas still look a little too regular. That could probably work. Let's try rotating it. Maybe it, oh man. Looks like I lost some work there. Yeah, I didn't know you were Venezuelan, Turbo. Must have missed it when you said it in chat. So, doing this again. And let's see, so there is some work I need to redo on trying to get this poking out again. Now this part's sticking out too much. And let's see, so this is too even. Let's just cut across all of this. It's starting to feel better. This should go down more. Yeah, the funny thing is, there's a certain feeling that the random generator it gets making this that's kind of hard to duplicate by hand. But, you know, certain ways that the random generator makes this are more interesting to look at than others. So let's try that, and that doesn't look too bad. Oh no, let me do a little more over here. And that's actually too much. But yeah, again, the thing is that it's hard to handcraft something that looks random-ish. So I'm liking that quite a bit. Although, oh man, I did again. Like another goal of this is it has to feel circular, basically. Rotating it. And I think that's pretty good. And I'll actually be right back. Enjoy some of the actual level generator. Just getting more tea. And I am back. Oh, thank you, Turbo. Yeah, the stream is brought to you by caffeine. Yeah, so this is, I don't know, maybe like 7 different generated levels in a GIF. But you can kind of get a sense of the differences in it. So you see the profile of the space station changes. I've got these tubes in here that move around the central area. Like, especially the way that the levels the player's moving through on the micro level is procedural. The bigger structure of it, like, you'll probably be able to count on maybe the robotics section generally being to your left when you start. But the way that you get through the robotics section is going to be different every time. Alright, so now that I've got this, let's just extend this into the background. That is a wonderful question, Tommy. So, yeah, lots and lots of them. So let's actually look at that. It's slightly different each time because of how the profile of the space station works. Show all rooms. So I was saying there's, like, in this spin section, there's somewhere between 11 and 13 rooms. I'll expand this a bit. Like, somewhere between 11 and 13 rooms stacked on top of each other going out. And each one of those rows has 128 rooms in them. Oh, wow. You're not joking, are you, Turbo? That's really scary. So, yeah, but I'm kind of curious. So we got 128 times 12 equals about 1,536 in just the outside. Man, that's messed up. And then, like, the rooms get, there's fewer rooms per row as you go up. But, still you kind of get the idea from that. I don't know, if just guessing, not going through all of them, I'd say maybe 2,000 to 3,000. Yeah, so one nice thing about getting this story path in, like, at least the first story path, is I'll really be able to start figuring out, just... No, I think there's enough Room City. I'll really be able... Excuse me. Woo. I'll be able to start figuring out just how long it takes the player to complete a story path. Like, I've been thinking minimum 1 hour to get through, like, the simplest story. City thinks it's going to be a lot more. But I don't know. Once I start play testing more and figuring that out, I'll have a clear sense of what I need to do with things like checkpoints in the game to make sure that the player isn't expected to play for more than like a half hour without being able to save their progress and, get a break. All right, so what are we snapping to? All right, so this is going to be rotating around. Feels a little unbalanced, though. Trying to figure out, I think this part feels a bit large. So maybe I'll shave a bit off the bottom. Don't want to do too much because some variation's nice. But it would be good if it mostly feels circular. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun, City. Yeah, I hope it takes longer than 5 minutes. See you soon, Turbo. Okay, so now I need to undo what I did in extruding this thing. Oh, BRM or Jory is fine. Or Blender. Though that would be confusing with Blender Tommy in chat too. Yeah, but most people just say BRM since since Blender Robot Manufacturer is a mouthful. Oh, good to meet you too, Turbo. Is Turbo what you want to be called? Man, sorry to hear that, Dan. Oh, thank you, Turbo. Yeah, I've played some online games, but I've never really gone into the communities that much. Oh, the project's going good. I'm kind of taking it slow and talking a lot about the video game and planning it out and stuff like that. But I don't know, the project's going pretty well. Well, if it's all right with you, I may continue saying turbo because it's difficult to remember names that aren't in the handle. You got someone. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd probably butcher it if I tried. It's not Andres, is it? Now I'm curious how you pronounce it. All right, so my brain is melting. I need like a screen and... Oh, really so, Andres? Or maybe Andres. I forget what I said the first time. Andres, probably. Alright, so I need to scale this properly and figure out where the back wall is. Yes, City of Corridors, she keeps trying to teach me, she keeps trying to teach me Spanish, and I've got like a handful of words, but barely anything. Really would like to learn more, though. So I need to append a scale comparison. And that's the size of humans, so this is going to need to be a lot smaller. Yeah, that's the name of the Discord. It's an anagram for Blender Robot Manufactory. We should probably change it to a different one, though. We've had Cry Not for Balto for a while. Well, you're not wrong, Mel. So I need to embed this in the wall. Oh, whoopsie.
Hey, tutorial heads. Thanks for the tutorial page. Tutorial.
All right, now do I have a ladder here? That would be useful. The ladder tells me how much this can stick out of the wall. Well, I'm glad you find the quirkiness charming, Mel. All right, so I think the easiest thing is just going to be saving all this in-game and actually gain a sense of what size it's going to be. Unity projects, creator crate, assets, go with equipment. And gravity display. Because this probably is more of a display than an actual switch. Of course, I'm calling it gravity shut off here. Be better if I were consistent with this stuff. But let's just save that real quick. And start getting a sense of how big it's going to be. This is one of the songs that's actually going to be in the video game. From a musician I know in real life named Victress. Come on, Unity, load up. Just resizing this to show off the station generation. Yeah, let us know what you learned from Andrew Price. Alright, so what I am going to do is figure out what size this thing should be. And let's go ahead and do no level generation, no enemies. Go down here and add what I've got so far for this thing to the game. Of course, it's got a bunch of other craft with it too right now. Oh, that's awesome, Tommy. Have you done anything with Unity yet? Or, I don't know, just mess with the settings a bit? Okay, so there's a lot in here I don't need. Turn that all off. And this is an important prop. So I'm thinking we might even want the display station to be a bit larger on screen. Just scale this up a bit. Have a look at it in Blender. Pretty sure that should update. And I think I'd like this thing to take up an entire room because it's a really important prop. You get to it pretty late in the game. So if it's just sitting in a room taking up an entire wall, that would be best. Might be close to the right size. Possibly larger. And yeah, I'm thinking it takes up an entire room. And I'd also like room for a switch and 2 of these displays in the same room as it. Oh no, that's really nice, Tommy. Yeah, and I found it works pretty well, but I don't know, it still has some weird stuff in it. Specifically, a while back, I was having trouble just dragging prefabs into the scene without wonky stuff happening. So I eventually just gave up on doing that, and I always drag it into the hierarchy. Don't know if that's fixed now or not, but it's that's the biggest inconvenience. Alright, so this is one room, and probably even want it bigger than this. Like, the height of the room is constant, but the width of the room changes a bit. Of course, I do kind of know which room this is going to be, so I should be testing that room. And then go back to looking at the player. Okay, now this size might be about right. Just taking up the entire wall. There's a switch hooked to it. Probably 2 of these display screens up here. Yeah, I'd be curious if you have that issue too, Tommy. I don't even know if it's still an issue. I just gave up on dragging prefabs into the scene view a while ago. And I'm really fine working this way. Also, I've got a super old, well, not super old, but I don't really update my version of Unity as often as I could because you know, the way Unity works, it breaks the project every time there's an update. So, it's a lot more efficient to just update when there's a feature you really need. If you're constantly updating whenever they come out with a new release, it just breaks your project. You know, I don't think I have tried since the last update. Maybe I'll try it in a test scene after I finish scaling this thing. So I actually know which room this thing's going to be going into. So let's actually look at the appropriate room. If I can find it. Yeah, so it's going to be right about here. Well, I'm glad to hear that's running. Do you think you might actually make a game with it, Tommy? And then let's put the gravity shut off in scene again. Move it over here and let's see, so this is how big a room is. Yeah, that's a really good idea, Tommy. It's just going to constantly break your projects if you let it update whenever it wants to. All right, so let's see this again. Again, lots of stuff I don't need in here. But I don't know. It could be taller. It really could be bigger. Okay, I am braced and ready for the question. Battle stations, everyone. And then, let's see, we put the switch in, rotate it around some more. I know this looks super ugly, but it's helpful for planning this out. And now we go ahead and maximize again. And yeah, that'll fill up a room nicely. You'll be able to see it okay as the player. Need to get back up there. Where is my player? I need to put them back there. And let's just have one more look at this. So yeah, that's gonna feel big and important. Bracing for impact. So yeah, I think that big ugly thing's gonna be a lot of fun. I want to learn Blender and 3D. Oh yeah, so as far as how much it takes, as how much time it takes up, I think that is possible to learn to do things in Blender and make art and stuff like that without taking up all of your time. But if you do get into making games as well as making 3D assets for it and all of that stuff, you know, it is very easy to get into these gigantic projects. So I would be cautious about, you know, not starting anything that's larger than what you're comfortable getting into. Like I said, I've been at this game for like 3.5 years. And this is probably closer to the upper limit of what one person can realistically do. Well, only 3-year projects if you want to dedicate your life to them. If you're looking for something that yeah, and counting. If you're looking for something that you can pick up and you know, polish and finish and, yeah, finish and get done with. I'd recommend aiming for something kind of on the scale of old arcade games like Pac-Man or Asteroids. You know, they've got fun gameplay and some interesting features in there, but very limited scope. Welcome back, Turbo. Alright, so now, I'm almost wondering if this thing would be more fun if it were just, rotating free. Like, where even is the back wall? Like I was saying, maybe this thing is... Sorry, getting very distracted. Figure out where the ladder is. I was saying maybe this thing should be behind a screen or something, but that might disrupt the circular nature of it. Maybe it could be a big circular screen. Yeah, Tommy's F-16 is awesome. But let's go ahead and put this into the back wall. Maybe just scooch it back a little more. Now that's a really good point, City. And if you're looking for like design prompts and ways to like get into a quick project and get your ideas out there, a lot of people get into game jams and stuff like that where it is a whole game made over a weekend. Alright, so now I'm going to make another circle. Let's go ahead and say it's going to be, oh, I don't even know, 64 big maybe. And we'll just have a big circular alcove. Where is the back wall? Yeah, that's the game that City wants to make. We did make some cool submarines on stream for it a little while ago. Also, it's got advanced dolphin juicing mechanics. So in order to stick this thing into the back wall, I'm going to need a frame for it. And I think it would be fun to add just a bunch of depth to this. So this just goes way, way into the back. And put this over here. Yeah, again, that's describing what we do. Yeah, but City actually does help a whole lot with the planning of this game. All modesty aside. What am I doing? And apologies if this is a bit slower than usual today. My, the caffeine really isn't working today. Alright, so then delete this.
What's she building in there?
What's she building in there? So, how are you doing today, FLML? Today, I'm building a gravity shutoff switch. So let me just move these out of the way for a minute. Oh yeah, and I should do what Hellforge TV suggested and turn on ambient occlusion so we can actually see these. Whoa, super gritty. So, how the gravity shutoff switch works is you've got, like this model of the space station rotating in the background. And then you throw a switch next to it, and the station starts slowing down. And eventually there's no more gravity, and you can just jump from wall to wall. What have you been up to, FLML? Then I think I'll go ahead and add a screen to this. Just want to start being able to visualize what this thing actually looks like. Yeah, not liking the ambient occlusion. Oh, that's good to know. So is that under ambient occlusion? Oh, I see. So I guess something like that, maybe. Alright, so what am I doing? I am making a mask so we can see this thing in the wall. Call this mask. Holy moly. Turning off the party lights. It's time to get super serious. Oh, interesting. Alright, so then turn off the mask for a minute. let's unwrap this a little bit. UV editor. Just to start getting a sense of what this is going to look like in game. I think the back of this should be black. Maybe even a black ring around the edge. And this will be the glass. So go ahead and separate this as well. And let's put some color on this. I don't even know what color this should be. Maybe just light gray for now. And start naming these objects. So that's the glass, this is the frame. We've got let's just call it center and outer. And I can go ahead and turn off these scale comparisons. I think I've got a pretty good idea of where all this is now. Let's go back into Unity and start trying to get a sense of how this will look in the room. So the first thing is going to be just assigning the right materials to this. On the frame, turn off the mask for a minute. Yeah, so this is going to be a model of the space station so that you're able to see the space station spinning down. I don't know if I should put models of the docks in here too, or some windows or something else to give it some more detail. And we are going to materials. Get a nice transparent glass on there. And let's just do bright green for now. Then I'm going to need to look at how the mask is set up for other objects. So what has a mask? Pretty much everything. Yeah, the important switch has a mask. Yeah, the docks would be cool. So now, I need set render queue. Oh yeah, there's a setting I keep meaning to turn off in Blender. Oh nope, it's not doing it. And we need the mask background material. Okay, so that is roughly what I want for this. And move this whole thing down to where the player spawns so we can start getting a sense of what it's like in game. Generating. There we go, and I think I'll position it right in this room between these ladders. That should be plenty of space. Let's just see what this looks like. So it's really recessed into the wall. I'm not getting a lot out of the glass material right now. Maybe if that were closer to the player. Generating station across the nation. Oh, and I don't think the glass is even rendering behind this. So let's turn off the back wall and turn off the mask. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. So let's see what this is like looking into it. Maybe it would be better if the glass were like a dome across the front of this. Though I do have doubts about whether this shows up in the foreground too. So pull this back a bit. And I am on glass, right? So what if I just dome this out more? And commit some crimes against 3D modeling while I'm at it. But yeah, let's just see what this looks like as a test. Turn on the background again. And turn on the mask. Okay, so now there's more of a dome over the front. Glass effect isn't quite working yet. Smooth it out. Alright, this mask is all messed up now. So put that there, put this here. And let's have another look at this. Alright, so that still looks all messed up. What's going on here? There's some object we're seeing the inside of. Which one even is that? Nobody knows. Maybe it's the back side of the glass. Hey, are you a big fan of hummus corpus? Well, have a good day, Tommy, and thank you so much for hanging out. Alright, so let's try to figure out just what's messing up here. I think that glitch may have been related to the glass. Turn the backgrounds back on and see if this is cleared up. And go ahead and let's have a good look at this. Alright, so there is something weird about how the glass is showing up. Yeah, whenever I'm at a restaurant, I'm always asking them to make the French fries more crispy. So now I'm just going to cart around the air fryer to restaurants and plop it right on the table. Yeah, so it fries with superheated air. As I understand it, there's no oil required. We've been making this breaded fried tofu stuff lately. So with any luck, it'll make it a lot easier to make that. I'm getting some weird shading on this too, so let's see if I can't fix it. Okay. Still weird shading. Like, what's going on with that? Are the normals flipped? Sure doesn't look like they're flipped. Oh, maybe they are. Alright, I recalculated the normals in the wrong direction. So is the deep fry gun, that's basically just a squirt gun with hot oil, right? Yeah, something like that. And the shading's still looking a bit weird on this. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just the lights on the walls. That's probably it. Turn the glass back on. And let's have a look at what it looks like now. You know, they really are. I'd never thought about it like that before. Alright, so something else I'm noticing is... I think this would be better with a different shader. So let's go to palette. Oh, that's not right. And go ahead and maybe it could even stand to be darker. So now it's looking smoother, but not getting great contrast in the background color. Let's go ahead and do a green color for this screen. Wait, so is this a prototype for something in real life or in a video game? Yeah, just smooth that out the rest of the way. I figured you were like Elon Musk, just shipping flamethrowers around the country. Okay, that glass is starting to look good. I mean, still very simple design, but who's JoJo? I don't know, but I like having some more depth on this going into the background. I think I'd like to bring it into the foreground a bit more though. Doesn't look like it updated yet. I don't know at all about JoJo. Wait, so which games was this in?
I've given you sunlight. I've given you rain.
Yeah, that is about the shape of it, Paz. Might be time for some rakes. What, you're gonna totally stop showing it now? Okay, let's start up again. And I'm still just really getting a sense for what I want this thing to look like. Backlighting it might be fun too. Just throw some point lights in there. Come on, Yeti, update the thing. So let's do that actually. Even though I'm not done making the 3D model. Let's just go ahead and steal it from a piece of equipment we've already made. This thing's got lights in it. Just steal this one. And where did that go? Yeah, how could you not love a musical about cutting people up and feeding them to plants? It's got a lot of similar themes to Sweeney Todd, doesn't it? If anyone here has seen Sweeney Todd. You know, in that it's mostly about murder.
What do you want from me, blood?
I've given you sunlight. Oh yeah, City's also informed me that I keep getting that song wrong. But I forget how it goes. Range, intensity. Turn this to green.
Yoink!
Yeah, that's true. I am a big musical fan. But I will say that Little Shop of Horrors is an especially good musical.
What makes you think it's a game?
Is it a game?
Will it break?
It better break eventually.
Is there an object?
What if you tire before it's done?
What if you tire before it's done? You know, this is the best one. eventually it'll play that. So I probably need a light that contrasts the color of this thing. Maybe blue. What stream elements? You're really not going to give me that.
Unacceptable!
Well, there we go. All right, so I think that's a start to it. So I'd also like that back bit to be darker, just totally black. And maybe that won't happen with the glass here.
Congratulations, kid. You've outdone yourself. You've reinvented the wheel. I'm going to recommend to the board that we proceed immediately and that
Yeah, glass is going to
that
prevent
the
that.
dingus be mass-produced with all deliberate speed.
And switch again. Get better contrast without the glass. I've given you sunlight. I've given you dirt. You've given me nothing but heartache and hurt. Yeah, so docks in here maybe. I don't want to put a spaceship in there because the status of spaceships being in there changes during the game. Maybe I can put the glass on the black color just to de-emphasize it a little. All right, let's keep modeling this thing. So turn off the glass and the mask for now. And let's go ahead and have a look at how this looks, how the docks look in the regular game. What's this about wood, Watts? What have I done? Okay, and this needs mask background. I'll click the link in just a moment. Just making sure this is still good. That's probably a little on the bright side. Then move to new window. So what have we got? After looking around... That's funny. Yeah, that's a good question, Corpus. I guess it depends on what kind of rating they're looking for the musical. Man, it's been a long time since we've seen that. So is Audrey 1 his cat? And then... let's just go ahead and see what the docs look like. And of course, I might still change how the docs look in here a bit. Yeah, maybe it is different when there's more gravity to it. You know, there's a whole lot of violence in something like The Handmaid's Tale, but that does handle it differently. And that probably has a higher rating than what they were going for with Little Shop of Horrors. Oh yeah, here's something else. I've got all these little tunnels in here. I should do that. Okay, so we basically have just an oval, 2 ovals. So let's go ahead and just say that this is essentially mirrored. And before I start working on this, I should save the cop. I can just save it in here for now. Then save here again.
Do remember to save the project. Come on.
So I was going to give this a mirror modifier. And let's eliminate this back for now. Fill that in, fill this in. And where did the oval go? And let's look again at what we're working with. So I would like to add a bit of curvature to this. So it's kind of an oval dock, and maybe it takes up a little more than halfway to the main ring, which starts like here. So then I'll use a mirror on this too to get the shape right. Oh yeah, very, very focused. And part of it is just that I didn't sleep that well, so not multitasking too well today. I just keep drinking more mate, but it doesn't work.
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.
And then scale this out a bit. Yeah, or the night before that, for that matter. Oh no, I just haven't been sleeping well lately. So, like, what I'm doing right now is you see there's this big flat portion on the bottom. No, they're very important.
Congratulations, kid.
For
You've
eye
outdone yourself. You've reinvented the wheel.
protection.
I'm going to recommend to the board that we proceed immediately and that the dingus be mass-produced with all deliberate speed.
This game is all about reinventing the wheel. And move this in a bit. Yeah, I think that's almost flat bottom what? I don't understand. Oh, flat, flat bottom dock. But because it's in the space station, a flat bottom is actually a curved bottom. Flat bottom docks, you make the rockin' world go round, literally. Yeah, that's about what the docks are like.
I've given you sunlight. I've given you rain.
And then, maybe delete this edge too. Hey Turbo, how you doing? Well, thank you, Turbo. So right now I'm adding some more visual interest to this central portion.
Oh, what's in the box?
What's in the box? Just kind of copying what the level generator is doing for these stocks. It's just a representation of what the station looks like, so it doesn't need to 100% match the rest of it. But yeah, it kind of looks like the station has kidneys or something. And then this goes to roughly that position.
I've given you sunlight. I've given you rain.
Yeah, let's see what sounds we got again. We also have hidden ones. Let me see if I can do this one.
Do you fancy some surströmming?
What do you want from me, blood?
I got the power. What's your roomie doing? All right, so then, you know what I actually want is to cut a hole using the inverse of this. That's the best line from Little Shop of Horrors. And move this back. So we have two different ones. One is exclamation point blood, and the other one is exclamation point sunlight.
What do you want from me, blood?
And then I'm going to do a Boolean on this. Oh, I should apply this first, and then... This line's still called center. Okay, so do a Boolean on the center. We want a difference Boolean and apply it. And did it work? It did not work because Booleans never work the first time. Let's try this again. So I click this. Okay, and then difference. There we go. So, what I'm trying to build is, you can see this is what the space station looks like when you zoom out on it. Actually got a sound effect for that.
What's he building in there?
So this is what the space station looks like zoomed out. And I'm making a representation of this that's sitting on the wall and rotating. And then when you throw a switch next to it, it's going to slowly slow its rotation until it's standing still. And then the player is going to be able to jump around without any gravity. So then delete all this, add a mirror again. And something else I ought to do is, oh, thank you, Turbo. So let's look back at this. So I'm going to need a series of tubes going around this thing, a lot like how it's set up here. So then going to add another circle. Yeah, exactly like the internet. So this is going to be the center of the station. And seeing where that meets up. And maybe I'll wing it a little more in terms of how accurate this is to the what am I even saying? How much it looks like the in-game map. But something like that.
I've given you sunlight.
And
I've given you rain.
maybe that would be roughly the size of the outside rooms. Yeah, that's not bad. So then same deal where I'm removing some chunks from this. Yeah, that doesn't look great. I think I could use a few more divisions in this. I promise this The way I'm setting this thing up actually does make sense in the context of the game, and this isn't total abstract art. Not that it would be a problem if it were, but... Oh man. Okay, then I'm deleting these, and that's not so bad. Another question. When you sit to start working on your game... Oh yeah, so, I keep pretty, I keep quite a bit in the way of notes. So, like, I have a bunch of different text files that I just keep up like this. And some of them are like running notes, and some of it's stuff that I keep around. So when I'm going to start working in the morning, I'd probably just open up a text file and say, what am I doing today? I'd literally write it out like that just to help me focus on it. And I'd say, I'd like to fix an issue with the decelerator. And then, like, maybe I'd list out what the issue is currently. It's not transitioning to the center properly. And then, yeah, and then, like, I just keep writing this out until I felt like I had a clear direction for, where I was going for the day. I'd probably just write a few sentences like that. And, like, if I got stuck or something, and, you know, was trying to think through a bug or something like that, I'd probably go back to the notepad and write down what the issue is, what I know about it so far, and what my ideas are for how I can fix it. Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Melslake. How are you doing today? So yeah, I pretty much, oh, and there is something very wrong with this. Maybe I can get rid of it by removing doubles. Yeah, and my rule of thumb is basically anything where I'm trying to think about what I'm doing. Oh, thank you so much, Mills. Yeah, I really love talking about what I'm doing with the video game. Yeah, pretty much my rule of thumb is if I don't feel like I can fit the whole idea of what I'm trying to do in my head all at once, then it's worth it to take a minute to write some notes out and try to get a little more clarity about where I'm going with it. What? So now, next thing I'm going to do is make some little tunnels for this thing. And I'll just duplicate this circle since I'll need the tunnels to be roughly the same size. Yeah, so how do you find the channel, Mills? Then I'm going to duplicate this, move it out, put it on a separate object, apply the mirror, extrude, shrink it down, half of the normals on this are weird. Oh, well, welcome to the channel. So, I'm making Creator Crate, a roguelike platformer about a robot trying to escape from a space station. And it's a procedurally generated platformer, so every time you play, the levels are a little bit different. Shrink this down a little more. Yeah, there's a little demo of what the game looks like playing underneath my head. And right now I'm working on a display that it's going to look like the space station, which is over here, and represent the station spinning around. And then you're going to throw a switch. It's going to turn off the spin, and that's going to allow you to jump around in zero gravity. Yeah, I figured it might help people get a sense of what the goal for all this is when I'm just messing around in Blender. So what about you, Mills? What do you like to do? Alright, so then this thing is going to need like 11 of these. 1, 2, okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, I think. Yeah, that's about right. So now I can start drawing out some tunnels on this. Well, I'd still love to see what you're working on, Mels. Oh, and we also have a Discord, which is a great place to hang out and share your work. Yeah, I've been liking the new Twitch structure, all right. Welcome back, Dan. Though I do kind of miss the old game dev category. The communities were super broken before, though. Like, if you... I mean, we can't really do a Blender community at all now. But before, if you wanted to do it, you'd be stuck, like, choosing between 5 different Blender communities. Each one only has, like, 2 channels in it at any given time. That's a lot of what I do too, Mills. You know, especially if I'm just watching a stream and someone hosts someone else. That's a great way to find new channels. If I do learn Blender... Yeah, that would be a great thing, Dans. Hey, Wormius, how are you doing today? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. What? So right now I'm just kind of winging it and trying to get something similar to the microgravity tunnels that I have. You know, it doesn't have to be exact. Then maybe it goes down there. Yeah, there's a whole lot of different ways to make money online with 3D modeling. You know, right now I'm so focused on developing the game that I haven't tried to sell 3D models in other ways. But I know Tommy does a lot of CG trader stuff. You can make Unity and Unreal assets. There's also a lot of other sites where people make and sell 3D models. Right, so we're going to do a little bit of branching on this. There we go, that's about right. Oh, so, let me think about that. Give me just a moment. So, like, oh no, not a Boss Baby TV series. So, like, I make a circle, and then if I press S, I can scale it to make it larger. Let me turn my keys on again. So scale to make it larger, or I can go into edit mode, press F to make a face here. And let me think. So if it's a three-dimensional object, I'm extruding here. And again, S would just make it bigger. But if we have like a ring or something, that's a little different. Not more Boss Baby. Now City's gonna make me watch it. What? So I'm going to dissolve the face. And there's also something I can do where you see I just have this ring of vertices here. I can press E for extrude, drop it down in place, and then press S to scale this out. And then I'm just making the outer ring of this thicker. Does that help out, Dan, or were you thinking of something else? What is designated survivor? All right, so then, yeah, let's just cut out the rest of this. So maybe it goes like this. It's a big section up here. Then I'll need to cut out portions for the docks as well. Oh man, that sounds like torture. Yeah, that'll probably look good. And then I need to combine this with the docks. Let's just move this to a different layer so I can work with it for a minute. May have been a bit premature in setting this up. Delete all that. Whoa, something is wrong there. All right, let's try this again. So I'm going to need to thicken this part up a bit. Yeah, I really wanted to like the new Doctor Who. But, you know, I think I was having trouble getting into it before as well, which is why we hadn't been watching it a lot up to this point. I don't know, it's just feeling kind of hyperactive. So it's 1, 2, probably 4 rooms. Gotta patch this up a bit. Oh, so what's Better Call Saul about? And you know, I know that a lot of people just really love Doctor Who. But I'd say, whoa. Mostly I've just enjoyed the Amelia Pond arc of Doctor Who. Especially like the Weeping Angels episode was really good. Wow, I'm getting some weird errors in Blender. There we go. Yeah, so let's just fill this whole thing in. And I need to fill this in as well. And onto the other side, so I hollowed out way too much with this. Maybe I can just extend this a little more. This is so kludgy. I missed that conversation. Or I just have a bad memory because I'm sleep deprived. What's A Quiet Place about? Again, I apologize if we've already had this conversation. Man, I haven't seen the movie for A Wrinkle in Time yet, but I just loved that book as a kid. I'll make sure to check out that thread after the stream. Been a while since we've found any really good movies. I don't know. Sorry to Bother You was a great new movie. But I don't know, we've been having a little trouble finding stuff to watch. Alright, so I need to extend this one more even. A horror suspense. Oh, I see. That sounds pretty good. All right, so now there's enough room for these stalks to go in here, I think. Although I'd like just a little more room on the edges of these stalks, so we'll move them around a bit. And then Boolean modifier time. So now let's go back here and Boolean select this. We're doing a difference. Oh, that's not gonna work. Not unless I fill this in. And let's try this again. Nope, not that either. Oh, let's try that. So is that a Boolean modifier setting? Oh. So what does bmesh do anyway? Cannot execute Boolean operation. Why do I always struggle with Boolean? Yeah, it keeps telling me can't execute when I try it with carve. Ooh. What did we just do? Oh, I see. Whoa, so I did something very bad. Let's see if I can revert. Okay, yeah, this is the right point. Oh, that's a good suggestion too. And let's check non-manifold, make sure it's in the right places. So part of the issue was that, like, I did it once and it messed up, and then I tried doing it again. Like, that did absolutely nothing. Now there's also one here. Let me just figure this out. I think. Could have sworn there was like a Boolean operation here as well. Maybe it's mesh. Man, this is killing me. All right, let's try this again. So, I'm not even sure which one of these it should go on. Oh, there we go. And you know, I couldn't even tell it. Oh, how are you doing, Durzel? Yeah, sorry to bother you. It's such a great movie. You know, the frustrating thing is I couldn't even tell you what I did different that time. Oh, I'm doing really good. So, the game I'm making, there's a little demo of it running underneath my head. It's a procedurally generated platformer about a robot that's trying to escape from a space station. And your special ability is that you can eat and reproduce objects that you find. So it's really physics-based. So you've got an arm that you can use to pick things up and throw them around. So what's going on with this? They sure are, Kendall. Like, it's the same deal every time I try to use a Boolean. I just keep messing with it and it works eventually. But I couldn't really tell you why it works. Yeah, that'll work pretty well. Alright, so that's pretty fun. Yeah, it sounds like the definition of life. Yeah, so how are you doing today, Jamie? Yeah, welcome everyone to the channel. Okay, and then like I think I want to move around this tube. You know, this is a funny, weird project right now because what I'm doing is I'm trying to replicate what it is that the level generator does, but kind of freehanding it in Blender. So it's a weird thing to try to reproduce. And join this. And can remove doubles, fix all this mess? Possibly. Then I want to join these together, possibly with a boolean. And maybe remove doubles can work on this too. See how much it takes. No, that's never gonna work. Remove this. And then I'll just manually merge them down here. Probably an easier way to do this. And then let's go ahead and assign color to this thing again. And it might be fun if some of these were different colors. So this can be red. Put a different color on the microgravity tunnels. Oh, these are useless. This is just such a weird project. Draw in Blender what the level generator makes. Okay, maybe I'd like these to be blue. And that's pretty fun. Scale these in a bit, give the different color to them. And even a different color for this one. And let me think. probably this too. You know, I think that's going to be a lot more fun than what I had before. Yeah, they say that like Durafel, don't they? They really lean into the Dur. Yeah, actually, that might be as much color as I want in there. But then this thing can also be unwrapped. Give it a separate color. Winter Keen is a great series of books. It's fiction about King Arthur, but written from like not a 100% historical perspective, but historically inspired anyway. By the same author as the last that made the Last Kingdom TV series. Yeah, for the most part. And right now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of generally laying out sections really roughly. So, this is for a science fiction game that I'm making, a procedurally generated platformer called Creator Crate. And right now what I'm making is... Oh, thank you so much for the cheer, Mel. So are you working on one of those commissions right now? Yeah, so here's what the level looks like. And I'm trying to make like a kind of abstract version of that so that the player can see. Let me start again so that I can put a switch next to this and it will slowly stop rotating the space station so that you're able to jump around with no gravity in the spin section. So how are you doing today, Capirito? Sorry if I butchered your name. maybe a little lighter on this. It's supposed to be a really abstract representation of how this thing's laid out. Looks a little like a cogwheel, doesn't it? And then these can be their own thing. I guess these are meant to represent the elevators. Yeah, let's just do like a really light pink for this. Eventually, it would be nice if this were an actual view of what the space station looks like at any given time and generation. Here's what the actual levels look like when they're generated. But I think this still does give you some information about where everything is. And the player's coming to this pretty late in the game, so they've probably already figured out some of this stuff. And let's go ahead and change the color of this one too. But not these. The kidneys are docking bays. I don't think I've got the docking bays in this representation of it. Alright, so then let's just extend this back. So now, oh, and I should change this to a different color. That's going to look something like that. Move this to be on the level of the other thing. Extruderate it. Oh no, I just had a great idea. What if I made all of this out of glass? The glass material anyway. Make it look really holographic and futury. put this back here. I think that's inside out. Okay, and then I want to move this part up a whole lot. But that doesn't look right, does it? Oh, so what convinced me to get into art? I don't know. I've always been doing some kind of art. Like when I was a kid, I made a lot of sculptures out of clay and like I don't know, sewed stuffed animals and Halloween costumes and stuff like that. And then as a teenager, I messed around a lot with Adventure Game Studio and made pixel art for that. So, let me think. Then after that, I spent some time in a Bachelor of Arts program in college, so I've got like 2/3 of a drawing degree. Oh no, I'd say that 3D modeling is a whole other thing from drawing. I mean, what you learn in one thing definitely transfers over to 3D modeling. But I'd say that I'm a whole lot better at 3D modeling than I am at drawing. I don't know, even though I studied drawing in college, I never really got the hang of it. So then, yeah, then, after that, you know, I'd been aware of Blender for a really long time, but, I don't know, I didn't really start using it until like 5 years ago, maybe. You know, I tried getting into it before that and couldn't really figure out how to do anything in it. And, I don't know, and then I just started playing around in it, making different video game art assets. Some other stuff before I started working on this game. And by the time I started working on Creator Crate, I was pretty comfortable in Blender, but hadn't done much with Unity. Man, that is rough. So now I think I need to put a new model in for the gravity shutoff. Go to Equipment, Gravity Display, delete the backup. Put this in, and let's move it to the same position as the other one. And copy what the mask has going. Yeah, I'd say that 3D modeling uses different skills from, well, let me say that things carry over between one and the other. But, I don't know, I've always found 3D modeling easier, probably because I did a whole lot of sculpting as a kid and didn't do that much in the way of drawing. So like even when I was doing more 2D art, I found things like like collage and making vector graphics easier than straight up drawing things with a pencil. So let's copy this. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan, Dan. I don't know. I wouldn't be afraid to try going off in your own direction too. Like, something I say a lot on stream is a really important thing to doing all kinds of art is just giving yourself the space to really explore what you're doing and not be scared off if you don't like how it looks right away. Man, that werewolf is looking great, Paz. Again, my favorite part is the teeth. Like, those are just spot on. Yeah, Paz does really realistic stuff. And let's just save this one more time and open. Let's go to models. There we go. Yeah, that's a great model, Pass. Yeah, so this is what my characters look like. They're using a toon shader in Unity. So, I don't know, the shading on them's a bit better, and they've got, like, line shaders on them. But I go for a bit more of a cartoony style and animation with them. Yeah, but there's all different kinds of ways that you can, or all kinds of different styles you can do with Blender. I'm pretty jealous of the amount of detail Paz gets into his models. And then let's go to materials, assign glass to it. And then mask, background. Yeah, but the important part is just having fun and exploring. And you know, if you're enjoying what you're doing and you put the time in, you'll absolutely get better at it. Yeah, that'll be really cool, Dan. So why isn't this working? Maybe it is working. Whoa. Okay, it's because the glass doesn't have the right material. This is looking a lot cooler since I did that, though. So let's put some glass on there. Just delete this one. And let's go ahead and put this on the outer and center. We're going for a palette. There we go, the standard palette. Make it really dark for the frame. And yeah, let's have another look in game, see if maybe this is what I'm looking for. And maybe I'd like it if the edge of this thing were a little more prominent. I do like the kind of shiny glass look all around this. I'm thinking there's going to be wires and things going all around it too. So this is this your werewolf or a bit earlier in the vampire? I guess that is. I don't know. Is that the werewolf or the vampire? Man, yeah, the werewolf's looking awesome now. The werefire. But yeah, a lot of times, even if you're not quite happy with how something looks, all it takes is to just keep going with it and not get discouraged. So there was something else I wanted to try with this. I'm going to need to turn off the wall and the mask for a moment. But what would this look like if I gave it a glass material? On the center and the outer. I don't know, it's kind of cool. A little washed out though. Oh yeah, so I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And there's also a counter on the Twitch page where you can see it count down to the next one. Right, so let's open up that file again. And I almost want to just make this wider all around. Give the inside some more room to breathe. Not that I have that much space to work with, but I think I could manage. So, and let's get the glass and mask in here too. Scale, turn off the y-axis, really pull that out. Yeah, I think that would look better. Let's have one more look at this in game. Yeah, so, since this is a really important prop, it's gonna need some more work on it. Like I was just getting the basic shape today, but, let's go to the scene view. Yeah, that still fits in a room. I was just getting the basic shape today, but this is going to need all kinds of wires and things going around it. And, like I said, some big switches and screens and stuff. So, unfortunately, I don't have a demo out yet. But I'm hoping to have some kind of alpha out next year. Not quite sure when next year. And when that time comes, I'll definitely be asking people on the Discord to help me test it out. So yeah, I think that's pretty good for today. And I'm going to call it a day for now and start working on this again this Thursday, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. But let's see if there's any awesome streamers that we can go ahead and raid. And also, thank you so much to all the new people for joining us today. And thank you, everyone else, for hanging out as well. Oh, you too, Mel. So let's see who's going at the moment. Radiant Rain. You know, maybe Ace Gikmo would be a good one to raid. Let's see what she's working on at the moment. Cool, so it looks like she's working on her game Flowstorm right now. Yeah, we're going to peacefully settle another stream. So, Flowstorm is like, it's a game where, man, I always have trouble describing what she's working on. Like, people can draw out little tracks for this spaceship to run around along. And then, I think that she compares it to Truckmania. And then, like, you're trying to beat the record times for it and avoid the obstacles. She's an awesome programmer, though. Yeah, Spaceship Skate Park. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and peacefully settle her stream. Don't light things on fire unless you have to. And we'll be doing that in just a moment.